Stock Market Morning Prep video for Tuesday, July 1st. Well, yesterday's trading could have been Thursday's trading the day before, July 4th, that half a day, because it was probably one of the slowest days of the year, if not the top three. Dow Jones down 25, NASDAQ up 10, S&P down 73 cents, Russell up a little more than 0.2%. I think that was followed through from the reweighting. And it was just very, very quiet. I mean, nothing was really moving. Selective few stocks. If you're looking for a pullback, you got the pullback and never went anywhere else. That's the problem when markets they rally the first 45 minutes, and then you're looking for that pullback to get a good entry. You don't want to chase anything, and then the market just stays sideways. So there are some really good ideas started setting up, and with this, the problem is that it's so quiet. And if you want to be in this business for a long time, you're going to need to know how to sit on your hands and wait for opportunity to come to you. Because as we say, this is definitely a stock picker's market right now. We have some divergence. We have many divergences during the past 6 months of trading, 2014. And the markets continue to care less of what the divergence is. And sometimes what happens, the markets pause like we did, and then we rally again for another break. And that's fine. That is fine. But when you have this market being stretched so much, you have to just be careful. And I always say that, take a word of caution. I'm not saying to short the market. I would not short the market until we get an absolute full-blown sell signal, and that would take some time. So looking to play longs that have been basing, maybe mid-range, that have sold off already. Now we have some good catalysts coming up, and that is the builders. And LEN is one of them, what I really like. We have some good housing data that came out last week, and yesterday we had pending home sales. And the pending home sales, we pushed this higher. As you can see, now this is something that I wouldn't mind looking for a setup, on another pullback or even a breakout in a back test, because you're basically here at the lows. You can see this, and if you see sort of a rounding bottom, you could even call this a cup and handle if you wanted to really make it into one. This handle area here. So this is a nice setup. And also we have some news that have been coming really in favor of the builders. And if you look at DHI, DH1, that had a really standoutish day yesterday. But again, it's coming now, approaching these double tops. And you don't want to be chasing these, especially when you have low volume here. You don't want to chase them. You have Beazer Homes, BZH. I like these. I really like these plays. Solars are still looking okay. Take a Trina Solar TSL. It hasn't moved yet. This is something that's interesting and that I like. Maybe on a breakout here, we look to try to get some, or even, on a small little pullback, and your stops would be underneath this pivotal low here, just below maybe 1180. That's something that would work, because we've had a sell-off already. You don't want to start buying something like a Netflix. I'll give you an example. The stock has rallied over 100 points in a month. That's something that you want to stay away from. That's something that I'm not interested in buying. And there are many stocks that look like this, and that's why we have to be very selective. And yes, when you have stocks that have been basing, that haven't quite gotten out of the moving averages, so to speak, they're still on top of them, it is a counter-trend trade, and no question about it. And they are more dangerous than the stock that has their averages that are way above it now, crossed all over, and have bullish symmetry. But if you still, you go back to Lennar, we have bullish symmetry already, and now we're just basing here for the last, let's say, 4 weeks. This is a great setup, and this is something I'd be looking to buy pretty much on a regular basis. Toll Brothers. Let's take a look at what Toll Brothers looks like. Perfect. Toll Brothers, same thing. Nice big rounding bottom. Here's your handle, cup and handle, if you will. Or you want to call it a sideways channel, that's fine. Whatever your setup you like in it, you can identify. This is perfect. This is just basing and setting up here. RSI just above 50. We have light volume here, and that's perfect. And that's what you want. Toll Brothers looks absolutely fantastic. You take a Pulte Homes, PHM. Now these are stocks that you're going to have to stalk, though. That's why. We really haven't gone anywhere, right? So that's why we have to keep an eye on and get our watch list straight. So I do like a lot of that. Let's take a look at the metals, and some of the metals are really starting to break to the upside. And let's just, obviously, our gold trade here. Gold really started breaking out, and that's because the dollar is breaking down, right? So you have the DX, which is breaking down in a real bad way. Now, it has failed miserably on this test, this retest, and now it's selling off, which is helping all commodities. Another thing I like is the grains, corn. Let's look at the corn ETF. Well, before we do that, let's take a look at ZC, the corn future. Now, yesterday they came out with the crop report, and they had a draw in corn bushels, which was actually bullish, and they really smacked them down. So this is a perfect example that it's not what the report says, it's how the traders react to it. It is coming into a seasonal low, so it's something like if you are trading the grains, you could trade corn, CORN, as an ETF, and obviously it trades exactly like it. So this needs a lot of work, but you know what? They come into cycles. So keep an eye on if you get dollar weakness. Now, crude oil. Let's look at crude oil. Now, crude oil, yes, is it extended? Absolutely. But crude, long as it makes these higher highs and higher lows, you could see we keep making higher highs and higher lows. Just this is perfect. Into a channel, break out a channel. Into a channel or a flag, break back out again. And again, this is the area that we're looking for. A break above 108 is going to send this to 115. And that's something that I'm watching for USO. Okay, let's go look at some of the indexes now. I suspect it's going to be a very slow week going into Thursday's risk event, which would be the non-farm payrolls, the ISM number, and of course the ECB rate decision, along with Draghi's speech. That is going to be some sort of well, I shouldn't say some sort. It's going to be a definite market mover, and that's something that we want to be ready for. And if you are long, again, I always stress, maybe buy some protection. Options are very, very cheap now with the VIX being so low. You might want to do so going into that. Okay. All right. So bonds, it's just really weird. Bonds are rallying. The equities haven't gone anywhere, and money keeps flowing into bonds. And then we did get a little bit of a breakdown in the Japanese yen last night, but that is just obviously it's very weird. It's been weird pretty much most of the year. Why equities continue to just go straight up with no pullback. It's just odd. Anyway, enough said of that. I just want to show you the ES. As you can see, we're above the 1618 extension. We're on the second extension. Okay, obviously very elevated here with no pullback in place. We've had maybe 4 days of pullbacks, very minimal pullbacks out of a good 30, maybe 35 trading days. That's not even prior to the previous move from back in low February. You can see here. So the market continues to grind, and there's really no stopping it. So if you're short, I would be very cautious. I would not be short this market. If you're short for the day, that's one thing. But starting to build a position short at this moment in time, especially with low volume, when you have low volume, you're going to have markets that just drift. And that's something that you don't want to do. Okay, you don't want to be in that predicament. Diamonds, really kind of the weakest of the 5 that we follow. So kind of hanging in there. It's going to need to break above the 1272 extension for the next extension of the 1618. That would be the next target. It does have bullish symmetry, so if you trade the Dow, it's just very sloppy trader here. And you can see really haven't gone anywhere. Transports here just kind of holding its own, just kind of drifting above the 8 and above the 20. But again, I think the next pullback in transports will be reflected in crude oil prices. I think that's going to be the next push higher in crude, which would push the transports lower. And then we have the IWM, and again, that's all about reweighting here. I do believe that low volume here, below average volume, or below the 50. So we do have 3 big bear flags, and again, would suspect this goes higher, at least challenge the highs? Absolutely. There's no reason why it shouldn't. At least going into Thursday. Remember, Thursday could be a big game changer for the month of July. And it's just a theory of mine. I do suspect that we did not get a sell in May go away. We've been rallying up for so long. There will be some sort of catalyst to bring this market down sometime in July. I do believe that. And it's not because of superstition, what have you. It's just that you just can't go so long without at least a decent pullback. And I mean, we haven't had a 5% pullback in months, and let alone a 10%, almost 800 trading days. So I mean, that's just something to be said. And the market participants are buying solely based on what the Fed is doing. So that to me is a falsified market. That is just a market that doesn't exist. Once the Fed pulls away, which obviously they're totally committed now, they cannot pull away. The markets would have a really, really tough time. Okay, and lastly is the Qs. And as you can see here, we hit the 1272 extension. So the next extension would be the 1618. That would be your next upside target in the Qs. Right, guys, that's it. I hope it helps. Let's see what happens today. Maybe as we get closer to Thursday, we get some movement. I mean, it was just a hard day, just sitting there looking for opportunity and really nothing happening here. So we'll see what happens for tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. We'll speak to you tomorrow. Take care.